What is good? What's happening? How's it hanging? What are y'all doing? What's up? Welcome to the first edition Black History Month special edition, the Being Black with BSAAC Podcast. Big BSAAC business. I think it's actually the Black with BSAAC Podcast. I think I messed that up, but we're gonna keep it rolling. Black with BSAAC Podcast. More applause. More applause. All right, this is a 4-episode Black History Month limited edition podcast where we will address a lot of the issues facing our people, the Black community today. So that's social justice issues, pop culture issues, sports issues, you name it, we got it. My name is Daniel Oladejo. I play football in the University of Ottawa, who we're associated with. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
We're associated with the University of Ottawa. I play football there, and I'm gonna kick it to my right to the city girls, introduce themselves and what they're about. What's up, Kessia? What's happening?
I'm chilling. My name is Ketsia. I play on the women's rugby team, and I'm Congolese, repping my country. What's your name? Oh, funny you asked. My name is Blessing Day, also known as the Baddest Baby G on Twitter, and Blessed Day on Instagram, Blessed with one S. I'm a rugby player here at the University of Ottawa, and I study political science and public administration with the...
Keep on. Black and educated. I love it.
I am with a minor in entrepreneurship and social innovation. I'm happy to be kicking with y'all today on the Black with BSAAC.
Yes, me now. My name is Kwabna Nanajima. I'm from Ghana, also Hamilton. Throw it up to 9. I'm here at U Ottawa. I play GG football, and yeah, I'm keeping it nice and short like that.
All right, my name is Kennedy. My mom's from Jamaica. My dad's from Turks and Caicos. That Caribbean lifestyle. Born and raised in Mississauga. If you're not from Ontario, I'll just say Toronto and keep it simple. I run track for the University of Ottawa, and I'm so blessed to be here.
My name is Trinity Lusan. I play on the women's volleyball team here at U Ottawa. My dad's side is Grenadian and Italian, and my mom's side is Trinidadian. And I grew up in Brampton.
We're gonna let that slide.
Dirty bees.
Yeah.
I forgot to say my nationality. My name is Daniel Oladejo if you're Canadian, but Oladejo if you're Nigerian. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm Nigerian, born in Nigeria, purebred type stuff. You feel me? Black power, Nigerian power.
We can say our nationalities too, but it's science.
You said you're Nigerian,
You said Congolese. You just forgot.
She said Blessing Day. Yeah, she said Blessing Day, but her actual last name is Opudai.
Please, there's no need to spread my business out to the world. Hello, everybody. My name is Blessing Day once again. I'm Nigerian. Repping the West Coast, repping the Giants of Africa. We the best.
Let's go. Also, side note: Nigerian jollof is indeed
the best. Yes, thank you very much.
Ghanaian jollof.
Yes, it very much is. Ghana, it's okay.
I'm not going to speak on it. It's okay. We're here for business.
Good job. All right. So like I was saying, we have a lot of interesting topics we're going to get throughout our time on this podcast. Like I said, it's 4 episodes. Each episode will have different topics, different discussions. We'll have different guests on, just talking about whatever it is we're talking about that day. So before we get into the discussion of today, which is a heated one, it could get real hot. But I'm going to kick it to Kennedy real quick, who's the co-president of the BSAAC, the Black Student Athlete Advocacy Council at U Ottawa. And she's going to tell you a little bit about the BSAAC, what we are, what we do, who we do it for type thing. Kennedy.
All right, so BSAAC, like Daniel explained, the Black Student Athlete Advocacy Council, started way back in 2020. Stuff was going down, and on our campus, we weren't vibing with what was going on our campus. So BSAAC is just a collection of Black voices. We advocate for what we believe in. We try to change our campus, We believe that we're more than just athletes, which is super big. We're melanated, we're educated, and we're athletic. So we show all the sides to ourselves. And it's big, It's important. It's not our job to do this, obviously, but we're here. We're educated, we're smart, we know what we're talking about. So we might as well make the campus better for the future generation. We like to represent ourselves well for the future generation of athletes at the University of Ottawa. You know, we're leaders of tomorrow. So that's basically what BSAAC is. We do policy change. We also celebrate ourselves because, you know, being Black isn't all about desperation and despair. You know, we big up ourselves. We do fun things. We throw creative events and, you know, we make the university better.
Yep.
Snap on that,
Yeah,
snap on that.
she gets snapped for that. That was artistic. I like that. But yeah, like Kennedy was saying, man, it's about representation. It's about being visible, being loud, not just being present. So I think that's what the BSAAC is all about, being loud with it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we can't just be here and be quiet. We got to let these people hear us. All right? Which is the reasoning behind this podcast. Let our voices get out, and what better way to do it than the most popular way? Everyone's doing it now. You got to start a podcast. You have one conversation, it's funny, everyone laughs, and then you're like, yo, we should start a podcast. And that's kind of how this came about. We were like, have one conversation, and we were thinking about things we could do for Black History Month. I was like, yo, we should do a podcast. I think I was the one that said it, wasn't I?
Yeah.
So I
You
get
gave the
credit.
idea.
You know what I mean?
Gotta take credit on camera.
But yeah, all right. So the discussion for today, the long-awaited. You guys ready for the discussion?
Hit us.
Y'all ready? Y'all got y'all facts and y'all.
Ain't no need of
good?
facts off the dome.
Vibes.
She said off the dome, off the
dome.
vibes. All right. So today we're gonna talk about whether or not Black History Month is needed, is important or not. That's a serious one. This is a discussion that, I mean, a lot of people just kind of rock with Black History Month because it's something that we've always done. I mean, it's kind of always been around for us, but do we really need it? Is it something that's performative? Is it something that has lost its value? Is it something that has been diluted? So we're gonna talk about that today. I'll kind of get y'all's opinions on it just before we start. What do y'all think about Black History Month? We need it? We don't need it? What's going on?
Well, personally, I feel like it's one of those grain of salt where I feel like it's necessary to learn in terms of like other people. But I think growing up, it wasn't something like February. I was like, oh, it's Black History Month. For me, it's just another month. So I feel like it's one of those where I feel like it's lukewarm. So we gotta either bring it up or bring it down. So it's like, how performative are we doing it or are we not? So it's one of those, to be honest.
Like, my perspective of things is a little bit different because I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, Lawrenceville, right outside of Atlanta. But people who don't know where Lawrenceville is, Gwinnett County. If you don't know where Gwinnett County is, Atlanta. Anyways, so growing up down there, Black History Month was it was a vibe, you know? Like, come out, everybody's like giving out cornbread and shit. It's actually quite nice. But coming to Canada, when I getting older and coming to Canada, I saw a shift in the way that Canadian Blackness is discussed and presented and represented even on television and music and all that type of stuff, and the way it is back home. So I think that the impact of Black History Month is different here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get into the reasons later. Let me not start getting all lawyer right now.
Facts.
What you think?
I feel like Black History Month, like they were saying before, it's either we turn it up or we turn it down. Like, I find it's really just going through the motions, doing it because we have to. And it's like, oh, the curriculum or the school, we need to do it so our CSR is straight, you know? It's not like, we're not moving with passion with it. So I feel like in those terms, in those regards, it's either we start doing Black History Month to celebrate Black people and not just the despair of our past and what we've gone through, but just celebrate Black as a whole, or just not do it at all. You know what I'm saying?
Bars? Anyone else got anything else preliminary before we get into the discussion?
No, man.
All right, so I'll get into the history of Black History Month before we really get into the meat and potatoes, as they say. You're a clown. All right, so the history of Black History Month. All right, 1915, historian Carter G. Woodson co-founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. So that's in 1915. That's about, quick math, 100 years ago.
Something like what?
1915?
Oh, 50. I think you said 50. I was like,
15. That's 100.
107 years.
108
Okay.
for 2023.
Okay. Quick math. All right.
gosh.
So it was introduced. So this is the real important part. It was introduced in response to the lack of availability of information of the contribution of Black Americans to collective history. So pretty much, people weren't aware of what Blacks had contributed up to that point to American history. So they were like, okay, let's start the study of Negro life and history. So in 1926, that's 11 years later, they declared the second week of February as Negro History Week. So Black History Month was originally Negro History Week. It was the second week of February to recognize the contribution of Black Americans to American history. They chose the month of February because it includes the birthdays of Frederick Douglass, who was an abolitionist popular in the States at that time, and Abraham Lincoln, who was the former U.S. president. Now, it doesn't sit right with me that they chose that month because of Abraham Lincoln. I think he's a white man. Like, although he freed the slaves and Emancipation Proclamation and all that, it still doesn't sit right with me.
It wasn't because
It
he liked Black people. It was strictly political.
It was pressure type thing. So, whatever, we'll keep going. So 1976, the last thing we just talked about was 1926. So Negro History Week came to be in 1926. In 1976, 50 years later, Gerald Ford, the current president of the United States, extended the week-long celebration to the whole month of February to, and I quote, honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout history. So that was 50 years later in 1976. So I guess for 50 years, it was just a week-long celebration. And I think it was predominantly just Black people that celebrated. It wasn't like white people were like, oh yeah, go Black. You know what I'm saying? It was just a kind of a Black thing. But in 1976, it kind of became a national event, which is what we currently know as Black History Month. And then in Canada, the ball didn't really get rolling until 1978. So in 1978, Ontario Black History Society was formed, and its founders presented a petition to the city of Toronto to have February proclaimed as Black History Month. So obviously, Black History Month in Canada started in Toronto. Where else would it start?
Of course.
Definitely not Ottawa or Windsor or one of them. In 1979, the first Canadian proclamation of BHM was issued by Toronto. So that's when it officially started in Toronto in 79. In 1993, the OBHS successfully filed a petition to make February officially Black History Month at the provincial level. So Black History Month started in Ontario. 1993, this is actually pretty recent. That's what, 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, stick to, okay. So 1993, OBHS successfully filed a petition to make February Black History Month in the province. In 95, the motion moved nationally and the House of Commons recognized it as Black History Month. And then in 2008, which is 17 years ago, someone check my math.
17?
15.
No, my sister was born in 09 is 13.
Yeah, you took the long way.
No.
You took the long way.
15.
Anyways.
15, yeah.
The motion to recognize contributions of Black Canadians and February as Black History Month was introduced and approved, thus completing the parliamentary position on Black History Month. So 2008 was when Black History Month really became a thing officially in Canada. So this brings me to the point we have now. Has Black History Month run its course? Because it was introduced by Carter G. Woodson as a thing to make information available. It was an academic thing in schools. They could say, "Oh, this is Black history. This is Black history in America." It was. I grew up in Texas, so in Texas it was really like Black. Like every day in school, we're learning something about Black people in history. You feel what I'm saying? Like, why are you looking at me like that?
You grew up in Texas.
I just never heard Texas in my life.
Y'all are so bad.
I've never heard
Sorry,
Texas.
we never knew
Y'all are
that.
so
You're
bad.
the only American.
I moved there from Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, lived there for like 3-4 years, and I moved to New Orleans, Louisiana. Hurricane Katrina hit. I was only there for a couple. Yeah.
Pause.
What's up?
When was Katrina?
2005 or 2006, something like that.
Before
Because he's old.
Yeah.
Oh, he is old.
2005.
Wait, how old are you?
He's grown.
I'm 23. You
Who?
making
Wow.
me
You're lying. I was like, wait a sec. How in 2005? Nigga, we went.
Anyways, I grew up in Texas. Yeah, so I was in New Orleans. Katrina hit, moved to Katy, Texas, and I was there until I came to Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Hey, do your thing.
Anyways, in Katy, Texas, it's a predominantly white area, but in school, like when we're going to school, Black History Month, every day we're learning something different about Black contribution. At that age, I'm not really like, this is like something that I internalized type thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that you go to school, you have to do. So, yeah, but it was introduced as an awareness thing, and I think everyone's pretty aware, for the most part, of the majority of the things they teach in schools. So it's like, I feel like we need to transition from awareness to action can we get some like policy changes? Can we get like, there's things that are still happening that is beyond Black History Month doesn't really help, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. There's just things that could be done, like actionable things that we could do instead of reading about Frederick Douglass in history class. You feel what I'm saying?
But I think that conversation is very much so American Black History Month.
Yeah.
Because there's people in Canada who legitimately don't know that there were slaves in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask 10 people on the street, can you name 3 Black, like, abolitionists from Canada, or like 3 prominent Black figures from history in Canada, I would bet top dollar that most people can't name.
I'm not gonna fake it.
That's actually a good point.
So
I
I
couldn't
think-
name 3 Canadian Black abolitionists.
You see what I'm saying?
I
I feel like it's a different conversation depending on your demographic and what country you're in, because I think in Canada we definitely have an awareness issue.
And I think also the education, like when I moved to Canada, half my classes didn't even teach, like I moved all over Alberta, Saskatchewan, literally some of the worst places, Jesus Christ.
You lived in Saskatchewan?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyways.
Down south. Or west?
But like,
Big country.
anyways, moved up and down, like landed in Manitoba. It's like depending on what province you're in, some places don't even teach it.
Yeah.
And then when they do teach it, it's always like Rosa Parks and all that type of stuff. And like that's cute, but like I'm American, I appreciate my history, but like that's American history. You're teaching American history in Canadian schools. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say even like growing up, I didn't even like elementary school was French, so we barely even talked about Black History Month.
Yeah.
2, it was one of those where it's always on the American side. It's like we're Canadian, and then it wasn't talked about. Also, growing up, it's a topic that it's now. It's like we're talking about action, but who's gonna be doing those actions? Especially when we're talking about in Canada, we don't even have a lot of resources, respectfully, even within school. You know what I mean? So it's like something you have to have those types of people that want to do it. You can't just be like, okay, like we need to do action, but it's like who's gonna do it? It's always us at the end of the day.
Even when it's brought up, like in textbooks and stuff like that, it's always like a little blurb, like the Loyalists did this for the British Army. The end. Like it's not even like proper Black history.
Yeah.
It's just like little.
Or even like Black experiences. I feel like there should be a shift towards, okay, yes, like this is the past, but it's also like, okay, what is happening now, and even like what's Black history going forward. Even like I think in elementary school, like we'd have like Holocaust survivors come in and talk about their experiences and whatnot, but like ever having just a Black person come inside and talk about their experiences and like even like that kind of thing, it's like, where is that like within schools?
Yeah, so obviously I think, so one thing I'm hearing is we have to differentiate between Black History Month in America and Black History Month in Canada, because it's 2 different experiences. I think Black History Month, or Black history generally, is more popular in America. I mean, they have celebrations like Juneteenth on top of Black History Month, so it's like...
Well, I think we do
But
have
even
some, but we're not
Juneteenth-
talked about it. Like there's, like in Nova Scotia, like I didn't even know
Like Africa.
Africa. I think there is that. It's just like, personally, me, I'm learning the Canadian Black history, because it's not, like you said, we're not taught that in school. So it's like you doing that conscious decision of like, okay, I'm gonna open a book, I'm gonna check out my history within Canada and stuff like that. Because I found like I even myself was a bit like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know there was a whole section of Black Canadians within Canada. You know what I mean? So it's like finding that is the number one thing to do. But you were gonna say something?
Yeah, no, I think it's also the population, right? Like African Americans, like there's a lot of us, you know what I mean? We're still a minority, but there's a lot of us. When it comes to African Canadians, like people who have been here since the time of the slaves, like it's not as populous. Like I met a girl the other day who she quit after like 2 days, but she came to my work and
Why you have to finish
Anyway, she came to my work and I asked her what she was, and she was like, I'm Scotian. And I was like, no, not like, where are you, like, what are you saying, sister? Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, no, I'm Scotian. And I was like, sister, like, come on, your grandmother, your grandfather, something, sister. And she was like, no, I'm Scotian, like, literally, I'm a child of the slaves.
That's
I
so
was
crazy.
like,
in Canada,
sister, you're the only one I've met my whole 20-something years. That's crazy.
Nah, but that's real, because like I was born in Nigeria, so there's a certain distance I have to the whole, like, I'm not trying to, I don't want to sound ignorant, but I have a certain distance to the whole like slavery struggle and things like that, because bro, roots, I look at my grandparents, my great grandparents, they were all in Nigeria, you feel what I'm saying? So it's like, for her, if everything she goes back is Scotian, how is she gonna find out like this is a little bit of a different discussion, like heritage and things like that, genealogy, all that. But like, how do you find out what your true heritage is?
23andMe.
Are those things reliable?
Free promo. No free promo. They're
That's how the
not.
government gets
They are
you.
not reliable. I think it's the government, but let's not talk about that.
You said what?
That's how the government gets you.
Thank you.
They're kind of scary because
I have a question.
they hold your
Did you take the
vials
vaccine?
forever.
I did.
Ooh.
Still.
Okay.
We're here. We're talking about the government.
I folded heavily, but that's okay.
Going back to what you said, I think that's an important conversation to have because I'm Caribbean, my parents are Caribbean, but it's an island in the middle of the ocean. We didn't just pop up out of there out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a conversation to have because a lot of Jamaican people are like, my Black history is just my Caribbean history. Most of the time they won't even acknowledge that we didn't just pop up in this island, like we're from like most likely a West African country and then we were brought over here. So having the conversation of how do you do Black history where you acknowledge like the fact that you're Canadian and because you're here you have to recognize Canadian figures who made it possible for you to be here, for you to have the rights and privileges that you have here, but also that hey, this is your heritage, this is your mom, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, so forth and so forth, and you have to recognize like, hey, this is important too, like this is my culture. You can't, like, I think it needs to be like an equal balance of both.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how many of us do we actually like celebrate Black History Month? When was the first time you actually like started celebrating Black History Month in Canada?
Like define celebrating.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
I was
Yeah.
young, like in preschool.
See-
Like, but the thing is, like, here's also problematic thing about like U.S. education. Like, I'm genuinely thinking of times. It's hard, right? Because it's like the people who are educating us on Black history. It's like realistically, maybe I'm crazy, but I've never had a Black teacher. I only had one in high school, and he wasn't even a teacher. He was one of the counselors. Oh,
That's
love
what I
that
was
man.
gonna say.
Love you, Jean Baptiste Betwenge. You hear me? That guy was awesome. Jean Baptiste Betwenge changed my life, and he's the reason I graduated. But anyways. He's the only one I ever had.
But that's what I'm saying.
And it's like all the people teaching Black experiences don't know what it's like to be Black.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of those for me. It's like
How many Black teachers you done had?
we here in Hamilton. You had a few.
Zero.
I had
I have
one.
one.
You know what I mean?
He was a supply teacher. I've only
Oh,
one.
actually, my music teacher.
I had
I
three.
had one. Shout out to Miss Taylor.
I had three.
I don't think I've had not one.
Not one.
Not
There's
one.
limited. So
Well,
there's a problem. Black people get into education.
Well, that's
Please.
Okay, is
I'm
it
saying.
no? But
No,
is
but
it
see, that's
is
the
it
thing.
Black people get into education or is
That's
it?
not.
Well, that's what I was gonna
That's
say.
just some
Like I said, with,
opportunity type thing.
yeah, who's the people? The first, who's really celebrating? You said who's teaching it. No one's really teaching. Like you're in kindergarten, it's a white teacher that's teaching me about my culture. When I can go home, my mom's telling me something else. So it's like, who am I listening to, the teacher or me when I go home? So it's like that also is a 50-50 because what we say at home and what we learn in the school, it's not the same thing. C'est pas la même chose. Because them textbooks, they're hungry in Africa, all this extra stuff when you want to say all
And
this.
that's
So
the
that's
worst.
my
Oh, yeah,
problem.
that's-
The worst is that
That's
when they
my
start
thing.
showing you those like, oh,
$1
guys,
a day, $1 a
no,
day.
even at school they'll be like, oh, donate to a child in Africa
Yeah.
that's starving. I'm like, I know there's broke people in Europe. Please stop playing with me.
That's what I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying.
Please stop playing with me.
The richness of Black culture is the part that's missing. We're not having the people that are teaching it.
The education is just showing
That's
a
why I
poor,
never
broken
celebrated in
Africa.
Canada.
However, I do believe in Black History Month
No.
and like celebrating Black
So
history. I do.
you think we should still like?
I think. Okay.
No,
Look.
it's okay. Go.
No, I said okay. Look.
Change your mind.
What? Go ahead, girl. I ain't changing my mind. Shush. What I was saying was, I think Black History Month is important because it reminds us to think. It's like any commercialized holiday, right? Everything capitalist. Come on, y'all. Come on. I'm a poli-sci major. This is the type of stuff
Okay,
I like to
but-
talk about.
Talk
I will
your
tell
shit.
you-
Oh, your shit. Go on.
Here's the thing. Every holiday is commercialized right now. Look at Valentine's Day. People out here running, buying rings, trying to improve and like show that they love somebody. Who told us that rings equate to love? Who told us that? No. Tell me why. For Christmas, people are running each other over with cards on Black Friday. It's because of commercialized capitalist
But you think that's a
society.
problem?
Regardless, regardless.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
No, that's not a problem.
Yes, it is.
It's a problem, but it's not the problem. The problem is that all holidays are commercialized, but we can't just you go.
So is it necessary? So is it that means it's not. So if it's an everyday holiday, that means it's nonsense. What's the point of having Black History Month if it's going to be commercialized?
So you're saying we should cancel Christmas? Is what you're telling me?
I didn't say that. I said if we want, like, how are we going to improve from this? Listen, I said I want my children to be able to be like, yeah, I'm Black and I'm proud. But how am I going to continue this with everywhere you're saying it's commercialized? How are we going to grow from
The thing is, my argument is that Black History Month doesn't help your kids be like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So you're on my side?
Yes, I don't think
cancel Black History.
No, we just learned that at home. You should I will do it at home.
I just said cancel Black History. That was a slip. Cancel Black History Month. The celebration. Why? This is my reasoning why.
Sorry. Hetty said, I'm going to do it at home. That's the problem. Black people are expected to do everything at home.
But that...
Why is everything our individual responsibility when I have to learn about World War II, I have to learn about other group struggles, which I should learn about in the classroom since the second I stepped in there? Why is it that Black people are expected to do everything at home? You can't go to a salon, you gotta do it at your auntie's house. Why are you expecting to go to a salon? Find food that you want to eat. Everything you gotta do it at home.
Hear me out. I agree with you. We're saying the same thing. But for me, instead of consolidating all of Black history into 1 month and saying, okay, this is when we're gonna learn it, bro, it naturally goes in the timeline of history. Integrated in when you're talking about friggin' the civil rights movement, bro. When you're talking about the Civil War, talk about the civil rights movement. Because no, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be okay. We're gonna skip over the points in history where there's major Black contribution, and then talk about all of it during February. When just talk about it when it comes up in natural history.
For sure, I think we were talking about before American Black history, Canadian Black history, and then Canadian history, American history.
Yeah.
I think there is trouble when we separate the two because then it shows people, maybe white people, that it's different, that it's not the same, right? But Black Canadian history is Canadian history. It's integrated, like you're just saying, in the
right? Quote that. She said, Black Canadian history is Canadian history. Quote that.
Ooh.
You heard it here first.
I think we can't rely on that because this is the problem. It's white people making the curriculum.
Thank you. Yeah. And also,
so you can't rely on, hey, let's just make it a part of the education, like the standard curriculum, when for years on years on years, white people have been failing our children, not Black children, our children with education on Black people. This country has failed because we cannot even, this group, I would like to believe that we are educated people.
Period.
We got academic all Canadians in the building. Okay.
Wait, she said
okay. You know, shout out to us. We're very well-rounded, educated people. That's why we're a part of this group. That's why we're here today. Name 3 Black prominent figures in history.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying to call you out because
I blame the curriculum.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not you because you're all educated, well-rounded people.
All right, so Kennedy said that the system has failed us with regards to teaching us about Black history like they usually do. I mean, she has a point. So what do we do to compensate for the fact that the system has failed us? Like, we can't just, that's not something we can just live with. What can we do on our end to fix that issue or address it?
I feel like despite the system failing us and like not being educated within our schools, within our growing up, we can do our own learning. And obviously it's not our responsibilities because we grow up and we learn about white history, learn about Canadian history minus our own heritage. But I feel like without us taking initiative and learning about our history, the real Canadian history, the cycle just going to keep on continuing. We're going to keep saying, oh, we're not represented with our curriculums, but we're not doing anything to change that.
Yeah, I know where you're coming with that. For me, it's like, if I look at like, if I take the initiative, in my household, it's not really there. So it's like, I have to, already, I'm the youngest of 3, so it's like first generation as well. Like, my mother doesn't know nothing about the Canadian history. She's learning what I'm learning. So it's like, how am I going to now, like, fix the system when it's like, my mom is learning, I'm learning, my sisters are learning. We're all not from this country, but we want to learn the Black history within Canada, but like, it's not within reach. So that's my big problem. It's like, as much as I want to help out, reach out, but I have to do my own history and now dive deeper. And when I'm at my house trying to talk to my mom, she's going like, oh, she doesn't know. She doesn't know nothing. So it's like, it comes within us. Now it's more on Black people's plate. We got to educate. We got to now learn more. We have to figure it out because our parents don't know that themselves, realistically, because they're coming from another country. So
that's something I also never thought about, that there's a disconnect between what Black history means to us. Like, I'm a first generation Canadian. My parents were born and raised in Nigeria, moved to the States like when they're in their like 40s, 50s. You know what I'm saying? So they don't know anything about American Black history. So there's a disconnect. When I say Black history, I'm referencing Nigerian Black history, I'm referencing Canadian Black history, American Black history. But when a white person or one of the teachers that's teaching Black history says Black history, she's just talking about Canadian Black history. So there's nothing she can teach me about Nigerian Black history. You know what I'm saying?
Not even
so
Canadian American, like it's American.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's so much deeper than just the surface. I think, just to segue as well, I think Callie raised a really good point about Black History Month that I hadn't considered. I was saying, as far as awareness, I think Black History Month has served its purpose, but she was saying that Black creators, Black business owners, a lot of Black people in prominent places benefit a lot from Black History Month because it's a time where they can be the front line, you know what I'm saying? Like someone like a Jamaican corner shop type thing that people are gonna go there more because it's February, which is a really good point I didn't think about. So that's something that obviously is a benefit. Blessing was talking about the capitalism and the buying and all that stuff that comes with a celebration like Black History Month, but it actually does benefit a lot of Black people in a lot of places. So that's something that we have to acknowledge as well, for sure.
Well, being Black is cool in February. Everybody wants to try to do
I think being Black is always cool. I think everyone.
Well, no, I'm just saying, but it's more like you said. The businesses are booming. Everything is booming only in February because being Black during that time.
Agree.
But being Black during that time is famous because everyone wants to now try what's it called, fufu tumalintaba. Everyone wants to try everything all of a sudden because it's February. Let's go try EDI. My class teacher told me to go try something. But even I'm not mad. I'm just saying it's one of those where it's like it is like that's why it's. I think we need to do better. Why does it only have to be February? That's what I'm saying. Exactly. If we're gonna do that in February, let's prolong it. Let's do a March. See that TikTok time where everyone do like March melanin, all that. You know what I mean?
The thing is, we're doing it every month. Yeah, but it's other people. Like you can't.
That's
really,
what I agree.
The thing is, Black History Month is meant to educate non-Black people, and even like another thing about that is like you said it too, Daniel. Like me, like my mom's Nigerian, my dad's American, but like with my mom, there was a very big disconnect of like the education, like about like what she knew, you know what I mean? And like even when I went to school, it was like I was always seen as African because I knew where my family comes from, you know what I mean? And it was like almost like that was not like a bad thing, but like everybody's gonna be like on you about it, you know what I mean? Like African booty scratcher, like bro. You know, like just
African booty scratcher too.
Like African booty scratcher, all that type of stuff. Like they just don't know, like they don't know, so they mad because they don't know and they want to take it out on you. It's like, brother, like come on. But anyways,
and that's crazy because then it divides. This is off topic, but it divides Black people more because then it's like, oh, you're Black, but you're not African. You feel what I'm saying? And then it's like, oh, it's the African kid. Because bro, even in the States, bro, it's bad, bro. Like the bashes, the heads that
the AVVs
African Americans and like Africans have. They're like African Americans will make fun of an African, or like Africans are like my. Let me not expose my family. There's like stereotypes. It's like, oh, African Americans are like thugs and gangsters within Africans. So white people are seeing us as just Black people. Exactly. But within us as Black people, we're seeing, oh, he's African American.
Even the like Nigerian, like the pidgin word, I don't know if you know this, but like the pidgin word for what do you call it? Like a Black African American person is akata. And like akata literally means like a stray dog. That's literally what it means.
Shit, I did not know that.
That's what I'm saying. The history of our
parents, the way, like, you know what I mean? Like akata literally means stray dog.
But that's what I'm saying.
Or like stray cat or something like that.
The I guess Black history for my mom, it's like, oh, the pants are sagging, hip hop. That's what she thinks that Black Canadians are, or Black African Americans, whatever it is. So it's like, for me, it's like I can't be speaking like this. I have to wear a specific clothing. My cousins can't have earrings because they're told to wrap all this extra stuff because it's like. That's what they know, but it's like, is that the only thing that's what's like, we need to educate, but it's like, who has to do it? Us. That's the only thing, it's like tiring, me personally.
So that was a little bit of a digression with that little bit of the conversation, but I think we can start like, so I came into this thinking, okay, we don't need Black History Month, personally. I don't know if I've arrived at a different conclusion. I don't know if I still think we don't need Black History Month. I think in terms of education, there's not much more value than it can serve. I think the solution or the alternative to Black History Month the way it is now is having it incorporated throughout history. Like history classes, you're just gonna learn about how things happen the way they happen and highlight certain black historians, Black significant people in history and highlight them within the curriculum as it is, not saying, oh, we're gonna do it only in February. I think that's my conclusion still, but I think to Callie's point about the benefit it has for Black creators, the benefit it has for Black business owners, there's definitely a capitalist benefit there, as in, okay, they can almost guarantee income in this month because people are gonna be like, oh, it's Black History Month, let me go support a Black business owner. So I think, I don't know, I'm still on the fence about it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think it's also just a good time for some positive representation about what young Black people can be. Because, like you said, it is one of the few times where we are at the forefront of media and like our society for that month. And it is a fantastic time to celebrate Black people and learn about Black people that you don't get to see for the other 11 months of the year. So I think that's definitely positive, but I think our solution is that we need Black educators, we need Black mentors, we need Black support groups, youth groups. Like, they're shutting down community centers left, right, and center. I think that's the big problem, because even if you couldn't get that education from your school, you could go to Black mentors and get that sort of representation. It may not be formal, but you can get that piece of Black history that will sustain you for the rest of your life. Like, just off rip, this council would not be possible without Callie. And it would not be sustained without Adrian and Stefan. Like, those are our Black mentors, and even though we're in a close age range, like, they're not that much older than us, even though we like to call them old, they're not that much older than us.
Stefan's pretty old.
But they teach us a lot about what it means to be young Black professionals in today's society in Ottawa, and how to succeed and how to network. And even though that's not necessarily Black history, that's Black representation of, hey, like, this is what I can do, and I can mentor someone when I get to their age. A little, like, 18-year-old Kennedy who's like, oh, I kind of want to start a council. I can do that for that person.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like that starts with, like, you see what you can be. Yeah. You have that opportunity to come here and be like, okay, like, they also give us that space. We don't know what they go through, but, like, for me, it's like giving me the opportunity to be like, okay, like, you're at the University of Ottawa, you may not have a lot of doors to, like, speak what you want to speak, but this is their platform, you can use it and just go with it. So I feel like you're right within how we need more Black educators, we need more Black, all that, but it's also like, we also need that space. So it's like, I think that's the heavy part. And it's like my sister, she's at Western, but she can't even fully do this because there's not that many Black educators. There's not a lot of stuff, but it's like she got tired and now she graduated, and it's like, who's there to continue on? Only my little cousin. She just went their second year. Now she's getting involved, doing what she has to do, but it's like having that space and having that person is the number one, I feel like.
Definitely.
I think with that, we can say our closing remarks and wrap it up. I think that was a very good point that Kennedy raised. Although Black History Month may not be perfect, I think it is an opportunity to recognize significant Black people, not in history, but within our lives. People that help us be better as people, as young men and women, as young Black men and women contributing to society every day. So this Black History Month, try to recognize someone in your circle, in your immediate, people you run into every day type thing, your parents, your sisters, your brothers, whatever. Try to recognize someone within your circle. Big shout out to Callie, big shout out to Stefan, big shout out to Adrian for making this happen. Yeah. Big shout out. Big shout out to BIA Media, doing big things in the city. This would not be possible without them. So big shout out to them. Black owned too, Black owned. So if you need any media production, anything like that, swing by BIA Media, man. Big shout out to BSAAC. BSAAC. Whoa, I know that was loud on the mic. Big shout out to BSAAC. We got a lot for you coming this Black History Month, so stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram at BSAAC, BSAAC.UO. We got a lot cooking for y'all this month. and stay black.
Stay beautiful.
Say- Yay, peace, y'all.